From KMUW Wichita,
From Toronto, Ontario,
and from Armenia, Spain.
this is You're Saying It Wrong. Let's talk words. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Ross. You know, quite a while back, I guess now, we did an episode or a couple of episodes on place names around the world, names of countries, names of cities in other parts of the world that we may be mispronouncing. It turns out, and I learned this from the World Cup, which has been pretty exciting, but
it has.
I learned that Cape Verde is not Cape Verde. Did you know this? How it's pronounced?
No,
Not until go ahead.
Go until
It turns out it's Cape Verde.
I know. Okay, you had the same thing because the first time I heard that, I thought wrongly, ho ho ho, boy, did they blow that.
Well, what upsets me about that is at school I went to school at Brown University, which is in Providence, which has a lot of people from there living in Providence. She went to the school. I would talk to her a lot. We would hang out at the library sometimes. I always pronounced it Cape Verde, and she never corrected me. I wish she had.
Find her now, Ross.
I know, I
should.
I know. You should have told me. I didn't know. I always thought it was Cape Verde. I agree with you.
Yeah, well, we're big Cesaria Evora fans. Love her. And we
sure.
always said,
Yeah.
the singer from Cape Verde.
Yeah.
Okay, we've all learned something.
Yep,
yeah,
but
I wonder, I mean, I listen to public radio a lot, of course, and so all of the newscasters and the people doing the reporters doing the stories on the World Cup and so on, we're just rolling along saying Cape Verde the whole time. And so it made me feel like everybody else knows this. I mean, of course, they're saying it correctly because that's their job. But since nobody ever said anything one way or the other about, oh, did you know it's not Cape Verde? I just felt like everybody else knew this, and I felt so silly. Do you have any idea why it's Verde?
No.
I'm just looking it up right now as we talk.
I am too, and I'm finding that those who live there, who I'm not going to try to pronounce, are more likely to call it Cabo Verde. Yeah. So then we're not being nuts for saying Cape Verde, really, if we're trying to anglicize how they're saying it, right?
Well, Kathy, I've got a question here, because here they're saying in Portuguese the E is dropped.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying, how do you say it in Spanish?
Verde is verde. Verde.
Verde. Yeah.
Verde.
So then,
well, V is a B more.
Well,
it's
yeah,
more
but
like a B,
the
yeah.
E, but in Portuguese they're saying here the E at the end is almost silent. That's interesting. So there's a big difference between Portuguese, apparently. I don't know. I don't want to get corrected on this, but I'm looking it up right now.
I'm saying it more as the sort of like drop it off.
Verde, yeah. Yeah. So apparently it is.
I'm going to say Cape Verde. I'm sorry. I've done it all my life. I'm too old to change. But
they're saying maybe this is why my friend didn't say it, because she was from there. And they're saying in the local Criollo dialect, it's pronounced Verdi. So maybe she heard me doing it, what she would consider like an Anglo speaker doing it kind of incorrectly, but kind of loyal to what she was saying. Or maybe I heard her saying Cape Verde and I just did Verde because that's how I heard it.
I'm just saying the E is barely pronounced is everything I'm saying. So
in
it's
Portuguese. But in the Cabo Verde dialect, the Criollo dialect.
I quit. Thank you, Fletcher, for bringing this up.
No, but what I'm saying is in the Cabo Verde dialect, apparently it's pronounced Verdi. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if that's true.
Interesting. This is a can of worms I didn't exactly expect to open up. I didn't think it would be this complicated. There's got to be somebody listening right now who knows a little more about this. Maybe specifically about how people in that country might say it themselves rather than how one might just say it in Portuguese from Portugal.
Yeah, I'm looking up two other sources. They both say that the local dialect is Verdi. I don't know how it would be specifically
I wonder
pronounced,
how it got to be that in English you say Verd. How did that happen, I wonder?
Oh no, here we go. You're right, a can of worms.
Well, I'm certainly not asking you to answer that question here right now, since I just brought this up and kind of sprung it on you. I just think that's really strange because we are very used to Verde, Verde.
As a
That's not a
green,
weird
yeah,
thing.
no.
But you're saying why were the announcers saying Verd?
Why in English? I mean,
Why
you look
did
it up
it
on
become that?
Yeah, you look it up on Merriam-Webster and it says Verd. I just think it's weird because we are used to Verde in many other places. I don't hear Verd for Verde
Ever.
ever.
No.
But I think probably because of its connection to Portugal. So we probably pronounce it the Portuguese way, which we all agreed apparently drops the E, most of the E sound.
Well, it'd be more like Verde.
Verde. But then
I'm doing it quietly too.
But then in English, you would basically cut that off because you would hear that like sound, you just cut it off. So I'm saying what I think it is, which is so fascinating how language works. We have the people in Cape Verde pronouncing it Verdi, but then we have the Portuguese who had taken over the land and basically, settled the land, pronouncing it Verde. And then we have English speakers hearing that and then pronouncing it without the is what I think happened. It's a stacked effect, I think. I don't know, but
you might be right. But Ross, to be honest with you, until the World Cup, I have never heard anyone say Cape Verde before, ever.
Yeah. Exactly. And what happened was when they entered the thing, they went into like some sort of technical discussion, or they looked online and they found out that the Portuguese pronounce it thus, and then we do it that way. That's my guess. I don't know.
Wild. I don't even know what more to say about that one. That's just crazy. I was going to say that I was glad that you hadn't brought this up when we did those episodes on place names, but now I see that it would have been impossible. Well, let's move on. Do we have a listener email to talk about?
Yes, Kath, you want to read it?
We do. It was from the original Tim, OT, who said in the last part of the latest show, you talked about, okay, now this is where I throw alumni, correct? Or is it alumni? Alumni.
We've gone through that. English pronunciation and Latin pronunciation.
I say alumni, okay?
Is it I? Is it the letter I? The letter
yes.
I? Yeah,
yes.
alumni.
Which in English is alumni, and Latin would be alumni. But anyway, we're English here.
Speaker, yes. For whom the place of learning they attended is their alma mater. Alma mater.
Right.
I was amazed to learn that both alma and alumnus derive from the word for food, which gave us aliment and alimony, food money. It's also intriguing that the term nourishing mother should be applied to institutions that until recently didn't admit women. Tim, you write a good letter. I would have thought that philosophers and theologians of the past would brag about the difficulty and strictness of their places of learning, not their nurturing qualities. And then he added, which was the even more fun part, every time I see alma mater, I smile for non-linguistic reasons. Alma Mahler was a lady who got around. After seeing the composer off to that great orchestra in the sky, she spent years with Walter Gropius. She must have been quite interesting.
This makes me realize that when people talk about alms, giving alms, that must be where that comes from too, right? Fascinating. I had no idea. I've always just sort of wondered what alms meant and where that came from. Now I know.
The other interesting thing we basically came up with, which we didn't think of until we got the letter, was when you matriculate at a university, that also has a womanly origin, matrix or womb in Latin. Isn't that cool?
Oh wow.
Do you want to go
actually no, I want to stop and correct something here.
Okay.
We may be wrong with alms. I never thought of this, but of course alms, which comes from basically probably the Greek word for pity or mercy, charity. And it comes from eleimon, which is compassionate, which comes from eleos, which is pity or mercy. And no one really knows the etymology. So, but they're wondering then when they saw alimony in old Latin and vulgar Latin, in like medieval Latin, they just chucked it in there. So in a way, we could argue there might be a connection that way, but the original word does not come from what we just said it did.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it comes from something that began with an E.
Which is always the danger of doing quickie etymology. You got to watch out, guys. All of us do.
I want to just point out, though, that no one would know that we were wrong if we hadn't corrected ourselves. If you say it with like passion.
I don't know. We've got a couple of Latin people who write in, so I'm not sure about
true.
that.
Actually, no, we get chided. We've gotten chided. They know their stuff. I always get upset. I'm sorry, just side note, and then we'll move on. That you can't do alm singular, because I always try to do it in Scrabble, and never. I try every time. I just keep hoping that one day, yes, for the poor, please. No.
Well,
I'm wrong. Sorry.
Okay, you may notice we've been expounding quite prolifically because we're going to go into the topic that we both hate, which is word order. And it begins with this. This prompted us to do it. We were looking the other day, and I found this on Tolkien, correctly pronounced, or Tolkien as we mostly pronounce it. And he was talking, I didn't really like his mom on this. He was talking about, he wrote a letter to
his mom?
Mom, no, because listen to the letter, and I got sort of peeved at the mother in this. So
the letter is to the poet, though, Ross. The letter is not to his mom.
I know, but he mentions his mom in this. It sort of peeved me, okay? I'm going to read it now.
Okay.
Tolkien, I first tried to write a story when I was about 7. It was about a dragon. I remember nothing about it except a philological fact. My mother said nothing about the dragon, but pointed out that one could not say a green great dragon, but had to say a great green dragon. I wondered why, and still do. The fact that I remember this is possibly significant, as I do not think I ever tried to write a story again for many years and was taken up with language. And he became a philologist, so he began by studying language.
I agree with you, Ross. I think Mom was really being a pain. I'm anti-Tolkien Mom here.
I did not think when I woke up today that we would be talking poorly about Tolkien's mother.
No, throwing shade, baby. Sorry.
Shade.
But it goes back to that whole conversation we were having earlier about word order. And there is basically a word order that we usually unconsciously use.
We talked about this. I'm sorry, Ross, I'm interjecting. We talked about this a long time ago. We did an entire episode on this, adjective order, if you recall. Go on now.
Go on, finish it up.
No, I was just saying, because I didn't want anyone to think, if they had listened to an earlier episode, that we have not, or we have.
This was a long time ago. Yeah, but it was basically there was an order that you put adjectives in when you go before a noun, and it's opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, purpose, and then the noun. And if you notice, the shape comes before the color, and basically Tolkien's mom was telling him that.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
what does opinion mean?
Like a jerky or bad or evil, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Or then size, because he said she said you can't say green great dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And it should have been great size, green color, dragon noun.
Great could also be opinion, right? It's a really great dragon.
It could.
Yeah. Hey, what a dragon.
But what Kathy and I were basically objecting to, even here, we just wanted to bring it up briefly before we go into something even worse, which is adverb order. But just quickly, I think our point really was that she should have emphasized, and a couple of people who have been promoting this idea online should have emphasized, like one person said, they absolutely have to be in this order. Not necessarily. For example, with the green great dragon, you could have like a whole bunch of great dragons, but you're specifying the green great dragon, right?
Yes, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the mom basically should have, we both think, should have encouraged his creativity and said, there are different ways of saying this, but what are you trying to say here? And go on from there. And maybe we both love the Tolkien books. Maybe we would have had like 25 more of them if he had started earlier.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. or allowed his creativity to blossom even more than he already did. This is the sort of thing, though, that we definitely just kind of know instinctively. Maybe not at 7 years old, but I would have no idea what to tell you about adjective order. But you know right away that green great dragon sounds weird.
Yep, you do.
Although, as you said, though, or as Ross said, somebody said, one of you said, if you're talking about, Ross, you said it, about all the great dragons and then green. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, contextually, it does make a difference. You're taking the one thing out of the conversation. Yes, you go, this is ding, 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 wrong, right. But I mean, otherwise, it could work. I mean, there's a whole. We found so many people actually weighing in on this. Like they were talking about, what was it? A lovely little old rectangular green French silver whittling knife. Right?
Oh gosh, I remember that one. Yeah,
that's so many adjectives that you just kind of lose.
You
quit. You just go, I don't care about that knife.
Yeah,
go, please forget it.
Point to it, please. Just point to the knife.
Yeah, really. But they were saying, like, in this case, a priceless old knife is not the same thing as an old priceless knife.
Yeah, of course. There's definitely, yeah.
I'm just trying to delay getting to adverbs.
I know, so Kathy. I'm going to throw it on you, too. Now we have, because Kathy brought this one up, and she said we should do it, and we're going to do it now, and Kathy's going to suffer first on this one.
Okay. I'm hoist on my own petard in a second, aren't I?
Yes.
Now, we talked about adverb order a few weeks ago, and admittedly, it was fairly confusing for me.
That's why Kath wanted to do it again. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay, we go. What sounds, we went today out to lunch.
Yeah, that sounds really weird. That sounds, I'll tell you what happens. This is really annoying. When I'm reading news copy out loud, adverb order is always really goofy. And I don't know why. It's got to be a print thing because a lot of people are, okay, so I'm talking to public radio here. A lot of people come from print, right? And for some reason, print reporters have really weird rules about things, and it seems like especially adverb order. So like, you want to put when something happened right after the name of something, or I don't even know what the rules are, but they sound really goofy when you say them out loud. This is exactly one of those things. We went today out to lunch. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Right. That's the sort of thing you would see that I would have to rewrite to something like, today we went out to lunch.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
Or we went out to lunch today. Right.
Yep. Yeah, let's do one more quickly. We just wanted to hammer this home. And then let's see if we can deduce now, Fletcher, since we've done this before and we're doing it again. Let's deduce the rule here as with the rule we had with adjectives. Okay, how does this sound? Every evening, Dad impatiently after work walks home. Every evening, Dad impatiently after work walks home. What's the better way to say this?
Every when? Sorry.
Every evening,
okay.
Dad impatiently after work walks home. Now you know in your head the rule. I just want to hear you say the word, say it in order, and then give us the rule order for what's going on here.
Well, you could probably say every evening Dad impatiently walks home after work, or you could say every evening Dad walks home after work impatiently.
Okay, what we're going to do here now, though, is we're going to do the rule before the verb, okay? So before walks, we want you to put most of the adverbs in, or most of the specifiers. Let's say it that way.
Every evening Dad impatiently, or every evening after work, Dad impatiently walks home. I don't like that.
You got it.
I don't like that.
Every evening after work, Dad impatiently walks home. That actually, no. This is the whole problem with this one. And this is where Kathy basically
said, I thought we had to talk about it again. I'm sorry, Ross. Because I don't
right,
think we've explained it at all, and we're still
'cause
stuck.
here we go. Because the key thing, the order that supposedly works is this: manner,
Meaning,
impatiently, place,
How you're doing it,
yes,
basically, right? Yes.
place, where you're going, frequency, and time. So impatiently
And purpose.
and purpose. Yes, reason or purpose.
so if that were the case, we would want to start with impatiently.
That
Dad
seems
impatiently. Dad
that seems
impatiently.
Well,
yes.
you could do it right after walks. You don't have to say impatiently walks, but you could say walks impatiently. But yeah, whatever.
Dad walks impatiently home
Place,
Please.
every
Every
frequency, every
every
evening,
day, every evening
and the
after
time.
work.
Yeah.
after work.
But you don't
And
really
you could
need
do reason, you could do purpose then, saying because he wants to go home, whatever.
Okay, so you're saying that is the order that is supposed to work most correctly, I guess.
Yeah, they call it the
Dad
royal
walks-
order of adverbs, which I
Yeah,
find
I don't
very,
like that
very
at all.
annoying.
Let's
Go on.
let's go through it again. Dad walks impatiently home every evening after work. Dad walks, that's what he does. Impatiently is the manner. Home is the place. Every evening is the frequency. And after
Mhm.
work is the time. So that's the order that it's supposed to work best in. Is that what you're saying?
yes.
Okay,
But
I was going to say,
go on,
but that
Fletcher.
sounds real weird when you say it out loud.
Yeah, because they're going to say, okay, when it's a movement verb, like running or walking,
Uh-huh.
like Dad's walking home, it often changes to place first, then manner, then time.
Dad walks home impatiently every evening after work.
Which I
Frequency's
think
time.
sounds more natural.
That sounds much better. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, these rules they're interesting, and they're obviously the interesting thing to us on this one is this is much more easily broken than the previous rule. The previous adjective rule basically is fairly, I mean, regardless of our criticisms of it, it's fairly strict in our heads. We kind of know it. And violations of that seem like they egregiously stick out unless we're like specifying, as we said, oh, there are a whole bunch of great dragons. I'm looking at the green one. That is a change does that. But in the adverb one, it's much looser, even though this rule does exist.
Yeah,
Which is
it
why I
seems
don't
like-
think it should be called the royal order of adverbs. I'm sorry. Go on, Fletcher. I just
Yeah.
I hate that term.
Well, when you've got a bunch of adverbs like that, it seems like you either you kind of get it right away, or you play with it until it sounds right.
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, otherwise you end up with, like I said, these weird sentences that. Sorry, print reporters, I love you and you do great work, but these weird sentences that print reporters write that sound really, really strange when you read them out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there's another part of adverb rules that drives me crazy. And they said, I saw this in virtually every quote grammatical guide, and I mentioned it to Ross, that they say adverbs of frequency, like always, never, and often, should come after the verb to be, but before main verbs. So they say, okay, it's wrong to say I go often camping, obviously. You could say, I often go camping.
Mm-hmm.
But then they say, I go camping often, they say is wrong, but that sounds more right to me. I go camping often.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think that sounds better than I often go camping. Well, it's slightly different than I often go camping.
I agree with you.
Yeah, maybe in tone. I think either one sounds okay. Frankly, I would. What would I say? I would probably say let's see. I go camping. I go camping pretty often. Pretty often is what I would say instead of just often. That's just me in casual conversation. But I would not say I pretty often go camping.
That sounds really weird.
Yeah, you're right. You wouldn't. You're right.
I don't know about you guys, but I decided I detest adverbs, and I think I'm going to strike them from my vocabulary.
Well, you're like Hemingway. Don't keep them out of your copy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm you know me, I'm a Hemingway girl, Ross. So yeah,
I know.
I'm
Yeah,
all
you are.
about it.
This is, for anybody who heard our episode a few weeks ago, I think the way it was outlined just now, I think that does clear things up a little bit. And I'm actually pretty interested to go back and listen to the examples that we brought up last time around, just to hear these changes in order, because, there were some good examples. And I think knowing this order a little more clearly now really helps.
I feel vindicated, Ross.
Good. I guess you do. I know. We're going to move on to something really simple. Actually, it's a juxtaposition of simple versus not simple. I was in a car the other day, and the streetcar in Toronto has streetcars, stopped, and there was a new sign on the streetcars, or maybe it's been around for a while. I never noticed it. And the old sign, which is still there, says, "Do not pass when doors are open." The streetcar doors open. But they had a new sign, which I thought was really effective. "We stop, you stop."
Mm-hmm.
And Kath and I were talking about this, basically like old-fashioned Anglo-Saxon language in some ways is more effective. I immediately saw "we stop, you stop, stop the car." Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about that because there are a number of things, and we're going to get into a travel episode coming up pretty soon. And in England, I'm not sure, you guys been to England or not, the UK?
Sure. Yeah.
Have you noticed the signs in the
Mind the gap?
No, in the subways, when they have in British sign,
not mind the gap. Not
on the
mind
underground in England, they don't. In the subway in New York, they have exit. The London Underground has way out. Do you remember that? Which is interesting because one is Latinate and one is English. Although a lot of times, if you notice, they'll have way out and you go down the corridor, and then at the very end of it, where the door is, they may say exit. But then in English cars, they say, instead of yield, as I recall, they say give way, which is interesting.
I have to say, Russ, I'm going to be the opposite of you, and don't get upset with me. I think that I think the "we stop, you stop" is incredibly confusing. I think "do not pass when the doors are open" is much more clear. "We stop, you stop" makes me stop and go, huh? What? I think that's a case where bureaucracy is trying to make it easy. They're going like, we're going to make it really easy to follow. And to me, maybe it's my brain, I find it incomprehensible. I find it kind of poetic, but I find it incomprehensible.
This is interesting because I had an argument with my wife on exactly that point, and she agrees with you.
She's a very bright woman,
she
really is.
She said, "We stop, you stop" means you stop. She said, but when the doors are closed, you can pass. And she said it doesn't solve the problem that when the doors are closed, you can pass the streetcar.
Yeah.
So she said it's not. She said "do not pass when doors are open" is much clearer to her, which is interesting.
Think so too. It's not as sexy. It's not as like snappy, but I understand it. "We stop, you stop." I really, truly, I as I said, I stop and I go, what?
I hope you don't go whoa, whoa, whoa like that.
No, and "way out" I think is different. "Way out" is fine. Although I have no problem with "exit" either. I think both of them are interchangeably understandable.
This gets me to something on a different, not a linguistic as much as semiotic point. One thing I've noticed a lot of times now with the way international stuff works is that they don't use words at all. They use symbols. Like they'll have like, we have an air conditioner, which we bought, which apparently is Chinese. And instead of having, like cold, colder, AC, fan, they have these funny little symbols. Mm-hmm. And I swear for the life of me, at night, if you're trying to put the AC on, you have the symbols look pretty much alike to me. The fan symbol looks a lot like the AC symbol. Yeah. And I think that if they had Chinese characters, and I asked a friend actually one day to show me the Chinese characters for like AC, cold, and they're very clear. You could see easily the Chinese character for, I'd rather have it in Chinese.
But you had to have somebody show you the symbol. Whereas if you see a snowflake, you know what the snowflake means.
But try the snowflake versus the
Yeah.
versus the fan at night. It looks the same. I'll tell you.
I mean, but if you're a Chinese air conditioner company and you're selling your air conditioner to the United States and also to Spain and also to, I don't know, Thailand.
Okay.
Then
yeah, I guess
you're going
right.
to ask everybody to learn your.
I guess you're right. I don't know. All I know is that some of these symbols are like impossible.
Ross, we were in the Barcelona airport, and we were trying to find passport control. They're the worst signage in Barcelona. Just I say that without a doubt. And finally, Randy saw it's a little man with a little book. I thought it was a book. I thought it was like lounge or something. It's a passport. Man with
a little book.
Yeah, but I had no. How am I supposed to know that's the passport control?
Kathy, I completely agree. I completely agree with you.
Passport control. Write it in any language. I could figure it out.
No, I completely agree with you. And they have like the same thing with even recently on a computer. Like they have the trash bin. The trash bin to me looked like something else the other day on a new one. Just forget it.
Oh, okay. Post no bills, Ross. That's enough. Yes. That one though, I still see post no bills. Do you guys?
Yes.
Well, I don't see it here. I mean, but
this is not a place where you'd see that. So no.
No. Okay.
New York used to have it all over.
Yeah, and no one knows. But I think that's a case where the bureaucratic language we were talking about a fossilized phrase. There's no such thing as a handbill, qua handbill, really anymore. You don't think of it as a handbill, but we understand what post no bills means.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we do. And I think on that level, we can post no bills anymore until the next episode. Whatever that was a weird ending segue.
Yeah. We're not yielding, Ross.
I loved when I was in the Foreign Service years ago. One of the jobs I was given, and I really loved it, was writing sort of incomprehensible letters to angry people. And I would do a really good job of like, what does he exactly mean? But it would calm everyone down. So.
That's diplomacy.
Yes.
You're Saying It Wrong is part of the NPR network and is produced in the studios of KMUW in Wichita, Kansas by me, Fletcher Powell. Kathy Petrus records from her home in Armia, Spain, Ross Petrus from his home in Toronto, Ontario in Canada. Torrin Anderson composed our theme music, and our digital team is Beth Golay and Carly Cooper. You can find all of our past episodes by subscribing to the You're Saying It Wrong podcast wherever you get your podcasts, or by visiting us at kmuw.org. If you have a question for Kathy and Ross, if you'd like to suggest a topic, or you just want to reach out, you can email me at powell@kmuw.org or email them at kandrpetrus@gmail.com. You can also email us a voice memo of you asking your question. You might get your voice heard on air. If you'd like to do the same thing by downloading the KMUW app, you can do that and just click the Talk to Us button. You can find all of Kathy and Ross's books pretty much anywhere you get books, and a handful of them are also available on audiobook read by the authors themselves. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week.